Sunlight explodes through the dining room windows, a perfect Sunday scene hiding a family ambush I never saw coming. The crystal glasses sparkle like they're in on the secret, catching light in tiny rainbows. The familiar weight of tradition settles over me as I adjust the burgundy linen napkin on my lap, breathing in the rich smell of Mom's pot roast. Dad stands at the head of the polished mahogany table, carving the meat with steady hands, each slice landing perfectly on the fancy china he saves for Sunday dinners. Just a small piece for me, Dad, I say, watching as he ignores me and piles a huge portion on my plate anyway. You're too thin, Emma, he says without looking up. Always have been. I'm about to tell him that at 38, I can handle my own portion sizes when the front door flies open. The calm scene shatters as my sister Sarah sweeps in with her husband Tom and their 3 kids. The dining room fills with chaos, backpacks dropping, kids fighting over chairs, Tom's heavy footsteps. Sorry we're late, Sarah says, no hint of regret in her voice. Her eyes shine with a strange excitement that puts me on edge. Traffic was awful by the outlet mall. You went shopping before Sunday dinner? I ask, but my question gets lost under Mom's loud greeting to her grandkids. Dad catches Sarah's eye and gives a small nod, a silent signal that twists something in my chest. I know that look, the sneaky glance they've shared since we were kids, usually right before I found out I was left out of some family plan. Well, we're all here now, Mom says, patting the table. Robert, finish serving so we can eat while it's hot. We fall into the usual rhythm of passing dishes and small talk. Mom asks about my latest architectural project. Dad grills Tom about the stock market. The kids whine about their vegetables. So, Sarah says suddenly, her voice cutting through the chatter. We're moving into your lake house next week. Our place has foundation issues. My fork stops halfway to my mouth. What? It's just sitting empty anyway. Emma, Dad says, his tone casual, but his eyes sharp. I get the blue bedroom, Sarah's oldest son shouts, bouncing in his chair. No fair. Mom said I could have it, his sister snaps. Their argument fades as it hits me. The kids have already picked rooms. This wasn't a last-minute idea. This was planned, discussed, decided without me. Your lake house has plenty of room, Mom adds, like it's no big deal, and they won't be there forever. 6 years. 6 years I've poured into that lakeside property. $420,000 to buy it, another $95,000 in repairs. I handled the flood damage alone 3 years ago while they were off cruising the Caribbean, spent weeks saving hardwood floors and replacing drywall. That house is more than property. It's where I rebuilt myself after my divorce, where I learned to sleep without checking locks 3 times, where I started breathing again. Family helps family, Sarah says, her voice sounding rehearsed. We'd do the same for you. It's only for 7 months until the foundation work's done, Dad adds. Tom stares at his plate, his silence screaming his discomfort with this plan. I set my napkin down, a quiet move that draws every eye. Something clicks inside me, a clarity that feels new and overdue. Emma, you're so picky about your stuff, Mom says, brushing off my silence with a wave. This is what families do, Emma, Dad adds, his voice slipping into that condescending tone he uses when he thinks someone's being unreasonable. Sarah's lips curl into a smug smile, sensing another win in our lifelong pattern. She takes. I give. Our parents enable. Not this time. I reach for my handbag, pull out a crisp manila folder, and set it on the table. Contractors start Monday, I say, opening it to show renovation contracts and city permits, all signed and dated 3 months ago. It's a full 9-month gut job. Silence hits the table like a brick. Dad's knife freezes over the roast. Mom's water glass stalls halfway to her lips. Sarah's smile vanishes. I take a slow sip of water, my hand steady as I lift the glass. The crystal catches light, throwing sharp rainbows across the tablecloth, beautiful and unnoticed by anyone else. Silence chokes the dining room as my family's faces register shock. The manila folder sits like a loaded weapon. Dad's knife still hovers. Mom's glass stays frozen. Sarah's smile is gone. You can't be serious, Sarah says, her voice jumping an octave. We've already given notice at our apartment. Where are we supposed to go? I sip my water again, memories of Sarah's entitlement flashing through my mind. My car borrowed for a weekend that became 2 months, returned with a cracked windshield she claimed was already there. The $3,000 loan that grew to $18,000, still unpaid. The spare key she made to my apartment without asking, caught when I found her using my shower. You'll have to find somewhere else, I say, my voice calmer than I expected. Contractors start Monday. Emma, Dad sets down his knife, switching to his corporate negotiator tone. Be reasonable. Your sister has 3 kids. And foundation issues, Mom adds, nodding hard. You can't expect them to live in an unsafe house. I don't, I say. I expect them to find their own solution that doesn't involve taking mine. Sarah's eyes narrow, exchanging a glance with Dad, their silent teamwork as familiar as ever. Like when I was 16 and found out they'd given my college savings to fund Sarah's wedding. But we've already started packing, Sarah says, shifting to a desperate tone on cue. The moving truck's booked for Monday. This will break your father's heart, Mom whispers, grabbing Dad's hand for dramatic effect. My phone buzzes. A text from Miguel, my contractor. All materials delivered. Ready for Monday, 7 a.m. sharp. Another notification, smart lock system active. Warmth spreads in my chest. Not anger, not fear, but confidence. While they planned their ambush, I was ready. Security's installed. Permits are filed. Everything's by the book. What about storage for our furniture? Tom finally speaks, still staring at his plate. Maybe the garage temporarily? The garage is becoming a home gym, I say. Everything's gutted to the studs. You'll regret putting renovation before family, Sarah hisses, tears appearing right on schedule, the kind she summons for holidays or whenever she doesn't get her way. Dad leans forward, voice low. Emma, this could affect certain decisions about the future. The inheritance threat, as predictable as clockwork. What about the kids? Mom's voice rises with fake distress. They'll be homeless. I fold my napkin carefully, their lifetime of demands pressing against me, but no longer crushing. Poor planning on your part isn't my emergency, I say, meeting Dad's eyes, throwing his own business mantra back at him. Recognition flashes across his face. I stand, grabbing my purse and folder. I've honored my contracts. You should honor my boundaries. Sit down, Emma, Dad's voice hardens. We're not done talking. I am. Sarah's son looks up, confused. But I told my friends about my new lake house bedroom. It's not your bedroom, I say gently. We're your lake house. I head for the door, my steps echoing on hardwood. Protests follow, but I don't look back. The front door closes with a soft click, more final than a slam. Outside, autumn air fills my lungs. I walk to my car, ignoring Mom watching through the dining room curtain. My phone lights up with Dad's number before I leave the driveway. 12 missed calls by the time I hit the highway. Only on the interstate, 20 miles away, do my hands shake on the steering wheel. The adrenaline hits hard, trembling fingers, shallow breaths. But my resolve holds firm. I pull into a rest stop and call Miguel. Make sure the security system's fully on by tomorrow, I say, and move the dumpsters in front of the garage doors to block access. Already planned, he replies, a smile in his voice. After the flood repairs, I figured your family might pull something. I grip the phone tighter. He remembers how I handled the flood damage alone while they were cruising. Locks are changed, he adds. Cameras at all entry points. The shaking stops. I'm not alone. Thanks, I say. See you Monday. A text from Sarah pops up. Dad's furious. Fix this now. I silence my phone and set it on the passenger seat. The evening sky turns indigo as I drive home. Not to the lake house, which is becoming something new, mine alone, but to my apartment, where I've learned to sleep without triple-checking locks. They'll escalate tomorrow, I know it. But for the first time, I'm ready. Monday morning arrives with the growl of an unfamiliar engine. I pause at my kitchen window, coffee mug halfway to my lips, watching a moving truck creep up my lake house's gravel drive. Its burgundy logo matches Sarah's lipstick from that awful dinner. My phone vibrates, Dad's 5th call since dawn. I silence it, grabbing the folder of permits from Sunday. It feels heavier now, like armor. At the lake house, Ray, my construction crew chief, has set up orange safety cones. Sawhorses block the driveway, forcing the truck to idle at the road. I park behind Ray's pickup, stepping into crisp air smelling of pine and chainsaw exhaust. Miss Morgan, Ray nods, clipboard in hand, 6 workers in hard hats behind him. Demolition permits are posted. We start stripping in 30 minutes. Thanks, I say, scanning the property. I see we have visitors. They arrived 10 minutes ago, Ray says. Claimed you okayed them moving in today. The truck's door swings open. Sarah steps out, sunglasses pushed up, face red with anger that deepens when she sees me. What the hell's going on? She storms over, pointing at the equipment. These guys won't let our movers through. I meet her halfway, keeping distance so her voice carries across the yard. The security guard I hired stands nearby, a calm presence. Like I said Sunday, renovation starts today. I hold up the permits. The house isn't livable during construction. You can't be serious, Sarah's voice climbs, drawing workers' stares. We gave notice at our place. Where are we supposed to go? I pull an envelope from my bag. This might help, I say. It's a 6-month storage unit contract, paid in full. Fine, she snaps, glaring at the envelope but not taking it. Storage? We need a place to live, not store stuff. Your housing isn't my responsibility, I say, the words coming easily. Your foundation issues didn't pop up overnight. You've had time to plan. Her eyes search my face for weakness, find none, and she turns to the house. I still have a key. We'll work around your project. That won't work. I follow as she marches to the front door. Sarah jams her key in the lock. Nothing. She tries again, harder. Welcome to Secure Home Systems, a robotic voice announces from a speaker. Unauthorized entry attempt detected, alerting owner and security. My phone chimes with the alert. Sarah spins to face me. You changed the locks? Last week, I nod at the cameras on the roofline. Police are notified about trespassing. Standard protocol. Her polished mask cracks, showing raw entitlement. You can't do this to family. Family respects boundaries, I say, my voice steady. My phone rings, security company, right on time. I confirm it's just my sister, not an intruder. Sarah retreats to the truck, gesturing wildly to Tom through the windshield, who looks defeated. Ray approaches. We're ready to start, Ms. Morgan. Let's go. I sign his clipboard. The master bedroom suite needs to be demolished by Thursday. We'll make it happen, he says, then pauses. Your sister seems set on causing trouble. Should we expect issues? Before I answer, the truck's engine roars. Instead of leaving, it lurches forward, onto the lawn, crushing my ornamental grasses. Movers jump out, lowering the ramp at Ray's command, unloading furniture. Sarah steps out, smiling triumphantly. Since you won't be reasonable, we'll store things here on the yard until you come to your senses. A mahogany dresser, once grandma's, hits the lawn. Tom follows, looking miserable. I don't move. I dial a number saved yesterday. Lakeside Auction House. This is Emma Morgan, I say, locking eyes with Sarah. Proceed with pickup. Donate proceeds to the foster youth program. Sarah freezes, triumph fading. What auction house? She demands. The one I called after dinner, I say, gesturing to the furniture piling up. I saw this coming. Ray clears his throat. Miss Morgan, should we work around the furniture? No need. I hand him the final forms. Everything not in storage sheds is being removed today. The day goes as planned. Construction starts. Furniture piles grow. Sarah alternates between threats and tears. Tom convinces her to leave, promising they'll return tomorrow to fix this. 2 days later, Wednesday, I'm in the former master bedroom, watching workers strip the last drywall, exposing bare studs. My phone rings. You heartless bitch. Sarah screams. The auction truck took everything. That was heirloom furniture. I step outside to hear over the construction noise. Shouldn't have been dumped on my property, I say. Her scream echoes, but my calm feels natural now, the boundary right. I've got documentation, I tell her when she quiets. Photos of abandoned furniture, security footage of trespassing attempts, police report. Silence on her end. I've told the property management about authorized visitors, I add. Schedule a visit to see the renovation, with notice. Mom and Dad are coming to talk sense into you. She snaps, voice sharp with anger. I check my watch as the foreman gives a thumbs up. Perfect timing. Let them see what they can't take. I hang up as workers tear down what would have been Sarah's master suite. The sledgehammer crashes, sunlight flooding through the exposed frame. For the first time in years, I breathe deeply, the air smelling of sawdust and freedom, not obligation. The security system chimes, vehicles approaching. I step onto the porch, plans in hand, watching my parents' car stop beside the equipment. The master bedroom demolition finishes with perfect timing. I stand in sunlight, streaming through bare beams, ready to face them on my terms. I adjust my hard hat and goggles, a smile tugging at my lips. Miss Morgan, where do you want the drywall stacked? Rico, the foreman, calls. Along the east wall, I say, pointing where Grandma's sideboard once stood. Cover it if rain's coming. Dad and Mom step out of the car like they're on alien ground. Dad's face tightens at the equipment scattered across the lawn. Mom's hand covers her mouth as she scans the property. What have you done? Dad's voice competes with a nearby saw. I walk toward them, boots crunching gravel. 9-month renovation, I say. Everything to the studs. They follow me inside, stopping short at the gutted living room. Exposed beams, fireplace gone, subfloor bare. This is insanity. Mom whispers over the contractor's radio playing classic rock. I'm rebuilding it, I correct. My vision, my timeline. Dad scans the space, his businessman's eyes calculating. Emma, this is over the top. Stop now, and we can still help Sarah's family. I laugh, the sound echoing off the studs. Not happening. His face darkens. You've never understood family obligation. I can cut you out of the will. 6 months ago, that would have hurt. Now I nod. You already did, I say calmly. When I wouldn't co-sign Tom's bad real estate deal last year. Mom gasps. Dad pales. Sarah let it slip during her money grab for their down payment. I say, picking up blueprints. Said you'd rewritten the will to protect family assets. Her words. Mom's eyes well with tears, the kind that once would have undone me. Emma, think of the kids. I turn to Rico. How's the children's reading nook? Framed and ready, he says, nodding to the corner. Just like your designs. Mom's confusion grows. For the foster youth program, I say, the one that got $12,000 from the furniture auction. Dad's eyes narrow. Sarah said you sold heirlooms. Left on my property, I correct. Auction house documented it. Public process. Mom clutches Dad's arm. Robert, she's made us look bad. People are talking. I show them Sarah's deleted posts about her homeless family and the community's praise for my donation. Public shaming doesn't work when the truth's out, I say, pocketing my phone. Dad shifts to negotiation mode. Let's discuss options. Maybe a compromise. I note the shift from demands to discussion. The renovation goes on, I say, pointing to a worker saving old family photos from a wall set for demolition. But I'll help Sarah find housing within her budget. Mom's tone softens, almost respectful. That would be appreciated. My phone buzzes, security confirming no more unauthorized attempts. Auction house sending a donation receipt. Contractor sharing deck progress photos. Dad studies the blueprints with reluctant respect. He knows good planning. Ever had to reinvent a space to reclaim it? I ask. Sometimes you strip it all back to build something real. My phone rings, Tom. Excuse me, I step away. His voice is quiet. Emma, I'm sorry for my part in this. I should have spoken up. Outside, my parents head to their car, less rigid than before. Sometimes the hardest foundations are the ones holding boundaries, I tell him. But they're the most important. Workers keep transforming my sanctuary, one nail, one beam, one boundary at a time. The dining room glows amber in evening light, shadows stretching across Mom and Dad's fancy rug. The table feels like a repeat of that awful Sunday. Same burgundy napkins, same crystal glasses catching light, same tension like a storm brewing. 3 months into the lake house renovation, I came to this dinner knowing what was coming. Mom made her special pot roast, Dad says, carving with precision, his voice fake casual, like he's about to close a tough deal, just like you always liked. Smells great, Mom, I say, smoothing my napkin, noticing extra place settings. Expecting someone? Mom and Dad share that look, the one that's spelled trouble since I was a kid. We thought a family dinner would be nice, Mom says, piling food on my plate. It's been tough with everyone scattered. The doorbell chimes. Dad relaxes slightly. Backup's here. I'll get it, Mom says, patting his arm. Dad leans in. Emma, I've been talking to the Hendersons. John, my golf buddy, thinks you're being harsh. I sip my water slowly. Didn't know the Hendersons had a stake in my property. Community matters, Emma. People talk. They sure do, I say, setting my glass down. They talked when I fixed the flood damage alone 3 years ago. No help then. Guess, Dad starts, but voices from the foyer cut him off. Mom returns with Pastor Williams, our family's advisor, someone I've always respected. Emma, great to see you, he says, taking the seat beside me. Your mom says you're busy with renovations. Big changes, I say, spotting the setup. My parents love their impartial juries. Mom serves him, then sits. We were discussing family harmony, right, Robert? Dad nods, slicing his meat. And how some choices could still be tweaked for the greater good. The kids miss their aunt, Mom adds, her voice hitting that guilt-tripped tone. Family sticks together in tough times. My fingers tighten on my fork, the same old pattern. The united front, the hint I'm the problem. Family, huh? Dad continues. The Fosters opened their home to their daughter's family for 8 months during their renovation mess. Barbara says it brought them closer. The pressure builds, each jab subtle but sharp, reminding me what good families do. I grab my tablet from my bag. Want to see something? I say, unlocking it. Since we're talking renovations. I show a photo of my lake house, scaffolding hugging it like a shield. I swipe to the interior, gutted, workers in hard hats. This was day 1, I say, swiping through the progress. This was last week. Pastor Williams leans in, impressed. My goodness, what a change. The latest photos show a transformed space. 3 bedrooms, a private office with lake views, floor-to-ceiling windows, oak beams, custom floors. That's the master suite, I say, showing what Sarah wanted. The balcony was tough, but worth it for the sunrise. Mom's fork pauses. It's completely different. That's the idea. I swipe to a timeline. Here's the schedule, set 5 months ago. And the assessment, 40% value increase. Dad's face shifts. He respects a good investment. This isn't about denying Sarah, I say calmly, setting the tablet down. It's about my plans, made before her housing crisis. Come, I open another folder. Older photos you might not recall, since you were on that Caribbean cruise. Storm damage, water up to the first floor, floating furniture, moldy walls. $28,000 in repairs. I show receipts and texts from that week. Begging for help. Told you were too busy. I first things that I thanks vacation. Mom pales. Dad stares at his plate. Respecting boundaries isn't cruelty, I say. It's adulthood. Dad's shoulders sag, just a bit, like a negotiator who's lost the deal. I should have helped with those repairs, Mom says quietly, no strings attached. Maybe her first real apology. The door opens. Sarah storms in, expecting the usual team up against me. She stops short, seeing our parents' silence, Pastor Williams' thoughtful look, my tablet showing facts, not feelings. What's going on? She asks, confidence fading. Mom said we're talking lake house. We were, I say, standing, gathering my things. I showed my renovation progress. When it's done in 6 months, you're welcome to visit as guests, with notice. I hand her an invitation card. Housewarming's March 12th. Hope you'll come. The question lingers. Who'll show up? And how? As I head for the door. I drive off, calm, watching their house fade in the rearview. Twilight falls over the lake, my property glowing with construction lights, transforming no matter who sees it. For the first time, I feel no guilt, no obligation, just the certainty that peace comes from standing firm. Sunlight dances across the lake, sparkling on my bedroom ceiling. 6 months since that Sunday ambush, my lake house is done. I hold my coffee, savoring the quiet on my balcony. No demands, no obligations, just water lapping the dock and birds in the oak tree I fought to keep. The kitchen below shines with copper and reclaimed wood. Last weekend, I hosted friends for dinner, using glasses I chose, not inherited. Laughter-filled rooms once meant for Sarah's kids. The exercise room replaced her master suite, reminding me self-care isn't selfish. My phone chimes, a text from Rachel, my contractor-turned-friend. Still can't believe we did this. Best project ever. I smile, recalling her shock at my plan to get a good house. Now she brings clients to see it. With permission. Always permission. The doorbell rings. Through the camera, I see my parents on the porch, Dad shifting nervously, Mom holding a small plant. Their first visit since the renovation. Come in, I say via intercom, unlocking the door. It's open. They step in cautiously, so different from that Sunday dinner. Dad's eyes widen at the high ceilings. Mom's lock on the dining table, where Sarah once planned her kids' homework spot. Emma, this island. Dad trails off, speechless for once. Remarkable, Mom finishes, setting her jade plant on the side table. Truly remarkable. I pour coffee in handmade mugs, watching them take in the changes. Mom lingers by my photo wall. Hiking trips, projects, lake swims. No family portraits. This is who I am now, I say, answering her unasked question. Dad nods, eyeing the craftsmanship. You've built something special, he says, echoing Mom. The bittersweet truth hangs between us. Growth needed distance. Later, I host a small party. Rachel brings champagne. The security company sends a gift basket, calling me their most respectful client. The auction house owner shows photos of the community center furnished with Sarah's old heirlooms. The foster youth director cried, he says. Their first matching furniture set. My phone buzzes. Sarah, I'm sorry about the furniture. Can we talk? I reply carefully. Dinner next month. Bring dessert. No talk of moving in. The boundary holds, leaving room for possibility. After everyone leaves, Dad pauses at the door. Respecting boundaries isn't cruelty. It's adulthood, he says, quoting me. His words feel like the final piece of the renovation. Evening falls as I walk to my dock. The sunset shifts from gold to purple, rippling on the water. My reflection stands solid against the sky. Peace isn't giving up boundaries, it's holding them. In this sanctuary, built by my vision, I've found both.